Welcome to the Highly Effective Man podcast, hosted by former Navy SEAL turned life and fitness coach. I'm your host, JP Bolwan. This podcast is your resource for unlocking the healthiest, most productive, and highly effective man within you. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Highly Effective Man podcast. I'm excited you guys are here, and let me just tell you, last week I did my first jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament. It was out on the island of Oahu. If you guys don't know, I live on Kauai, so it's a small plane flight over. But I flew over on Friday, weighed in, and then competed on Saturday. I did some no-gi matches, which means like without the clothing or the I guess the traditional martial arts clothing. It's like, just like in shorts and like a tight shirt. And then also did the gi division. And I did this with like the young guys because I was like, you know what, let me see what I got. And I'm 44, pushing 45, and I like to challenge myself and just see what I can do. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for a little less than 6 months, or right around 6 months. And so I signed up on the novice no gi, and then also on the white belt gi. And so for the day I went 3-2. So I took second. There was 5 competitors in the no gi, and I took second in there. Lost the last match by 1 point, and it was a very back and forth match. So, it just depends on when the time would have stopped and what would have happened. So kind of bummed on that one because I felt like I definitely had a chance there. I mean, I had a chance with all of them. First match in the gi. So that was in like towards the early afternoon, and then towards the late afternoon, I started doing the gi. And I won my first match, got the guy with the Americana. And then in the second match, it was fairly even. I mean, the score ended up being 0-0, but he ended up beating me by advantage. And, one of the things that happened was that he had pulled guard on me. And if you don't know jiu-jitsu, or it's when the guy kind of wraps his legs around you, and, it's a safe position when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And I struggled to get out of it and make things happen. And so much of the match was me trying to get out of that position, with me just barely getting out of it at the very end, but not enough time to secure position. So he ended up winning, and he actually ended up winning the division. So that was my second loss for the day. But a lot of fun, learned a lot, and was able to, I guess I was able to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while, right? And today's podcast, is the title is "You Have Less Time Than You Think," and the purpose of that title is on purpose because we do. I mean, I think a lot of us put off goals or things that we want to achieve or do because we think we have all the time in the world. And, like even with jiu-jitsu for me, it's something that's been on my mind for quite a few years now. But for one reason or another, I just never put the time or effort into pursuing it. And come to find out now that I'm doing it, I'm really, really enjoying it and having a lot of fun doing it. It's difficult. It's a challenge. It's definitely not something you can just walk into and be great at. So I like that about it, because if you put your time in, on the mat, you're going to get better no matter what. And, obviously, just like with anything, some people progress faster than others. Some people progress slower than others, and that's okay. It just matters all that matters is that you're progressing. And so, but when I was thinking about how long I've thought about it and how I was able to finally compete in my first jiu-jitsu tournament last week, it brought the idea to me that, a lot of times we think we have more time than we actually do. And I think there's a lot of us that have these goals that we just kind of put on back burners, or things that we want to accomplish, dreams, whatever it is. And I get a lot of questions like, you know, why do you, chase after these different things? Why did I want to become a Navy SEAL? Why did I want to play rugby at the level that I did? Why did I want to go and, play college football in my 30s? Why did, I wanted to become a firefighter in my 40s? Why did I want to, sell high-end real estate in a very competitive market? And it's because I like the challenge, and I like the idea of going after goals. And um, and I want to experience as much as possible that life has to offer, because I do feel like there is some urgency in my life, and I'll tell you why I think that is. And but before I get there, I think that it's very important for me to be a role model or an inspiration to my daughters, or even people around me, and just to see and push myself to see what I'm capable of. And I think that, most people that come in contact with me would probably agree that I can be intense, and that I can also push myself to accomplish things that, sometimes people might think is just, insane. Right. And it's not like I'm some physical specimen that's like, 6 feet tall, whatever it is. Like, I'm 5'6". Right now I'm weighing around, just a little less than 170. And I'm pushing. Like, my body's changed to, whatever goals I'm chasing. But, I think that we can accomplish a lot more than we think we can. And we also have a lot less time than we think we can. And if you've been thinking about jumping out of an airplane, playing an instrument, climbing a mountain, having a child, or maybe having another child, maybe you want to go back to school or go to, college for the first time, explore parts of the world, spend time with your family, like, don't put it off anymore, because you never know when your last day is going to be, or when something might show up in your life that's unexpected, right? And I would, when I think back on my life, I would do anything to have my dad in my life growing up and those types of things. But I think the one thing that I got out of him passing away at such a young age, and me being very young, I was 5 years old when my dad passed away. He was 26 years old. Is that the lesson that I learned there is that you never know when your time is up, right? So you might as well give everything you got to what you have right now, right? And I think that the fact that I've had people close in my life pass away, like, my grandfather died. First, my grandfather died, and then a month and a half later, my dad died. I lost friends as a teenager, and lost friends while being in the SEAL teams. And so the one thing that I know that's not a guarantee is tomorrow, right? We only have today and what we do with today. Anything in the future is not certain. So when you're putting off these goals, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get there. Right. And so what I want to stress to you is that if you have something, start pursuing it today. Make the decision to get after it today. Right. So I'm going to ask you a question. And when I ask this question, I really want you to think, what is something? Let me just ask it. What is one thing you've been thinking about doing, but you've put off for one reason or another? Maybe you justify it by not having enough time, or you're too busy, or, I'm focusing on these other things, but it's still sitting in the back of your mind. What is that one thing? And I'm almost 90% positive that all of us have something that we've been putting off and thinking about and thinking about and thinking about. And all it takes is a little bit of action. So what I want you to do, is in the next 5 minutes after this podcast is over, it's a simple ask. All you have to do is within 5 minutes of this podcast being over is just Google something about that and figure out what the first step is that you need to do, and then do it. So like, let's say this thing that I've been thinking about is, I don't know, going to Machu Picchu. That's one of my goals, okay? As soon as this podcast is over, maybe I Google, how do I get to Machu Picchu? What are the things that I need to consider to go to Machu Picchu? And if it's something that I can take initiative of or take one step towards, do it. Do it. Right then and there, within the next 48 hours, within the next 5 minutes, do it. That's all you got to do. That's all I'm asking. All right? Because nobody knows when their time is up. Nobody does. So why even gamble? Why even, think that, I'd love to think that I'm going to be around when I'm 80, 90 years old and, still being able to do that. I mean, that's my goal. But, God might have different plans for me. Then what? Right? So I've got to do everything I can with what I've got today. And if I've got goals and dreams, I got to start getting after them. I got to, be chasing them. Right? And here's the cool thing. When you do stuff like that, it inspires other people. How cool is that? All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's a quick one, but it is a message that I felt that was necessary. And it's something that I truly believe. So figure out what that goal is. At least one goal right now. Make something happen in the next 5 minutes. And let's get after it. Let's go. Thank you for listening to the Highly Effective Man podcast. If you enjoyed or learned something on this episode, do me a favor and share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And one last thing, if you want to work with me as your coach to help you get fit, be more productive, and in general, just be the most effective version of yourself, head over to my site, higherlevelcoaching.co. Once again, that's higherlevelcoaching.co, and schedule a call with me there. Thank you again. Let's go.